You guys see? And yeah, one of the other directors of the film, John Schnepp, is sitting back there also. So when we're talking about your next, which opens, I believe, in August, does it not?
August 23rd.
August 23rd. And audiences are going to see what would be like your 30-second sales pitch to audiences. That what makes this film unique? And I've got about 30 reasons in my own head, but to you guys, what makes the film unique that audiences are going to get out of this?
Oh, God, this is a lot of pressure.
Yeah, you're at 26 seconds. 24 seconds. You're blowing this. You're blowing it. 20 seconds.
It's like all this pressure, you know? It's like, again... Like,
18 seconds.
I don't know, Simon, you're more eloquent in selling shit than I am.
It's a horror movie that doesn't completely insult your intelligence.
It's true. For those who've seen it, it's true.
7 seconds left.
That didn't get a good response.
No, oh shit. Out of time.
All right, we're gonna. I know Simon himself has had some questions prepared that he wants to address to our incredible panel. So Simon, why don't you start things off?
Oh, geez. Yeah, I mean, I guess one of the first things I wanted to ask you guys is kind of in this age of social media and the internet, is there any form of film publicity that you see studios doing that feels irrelevant or outdated to you, or that you as journalists and critics find particularly irritating? Yeah, just as a filmmaker, it's something I've always wondered, because we can tell them to not do that.
The answer is most of it.
Alright, next question.
Well, I mean, here's the deal, man. You're talking about, when you hashtag your next, correct? Like, when we're told by the publicist, hey, hashtag this, or hashtag this cool, give me the thing. I mean, I don't know. Does it work for you guys out there? I mean, because we're the filter. It's coming from the publicist or the studio to us, to you guys. When we tweet something, or we put something on our Facebook page, do you guys respond to that? Do you actually follow the link to the official site, or use that hashtag?
I think I read somewhere, Ryan, that hashtags, people read more tweets that have hashtags with them more than other tweets because they've got blue. I'm not joking. You know how the hashtag makes the letters blue? Supposedly tweets that have hashtags in them get read 70% more than tweets that don't.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I think once they find a topic that they like.
Yeah.
You came here for fun, but maybe you'll learn something too.
Feeding off of what Ryan was saying about the conduit from the studios and publicists to us, I mean, one of the things is how impactful is it to the reader? And one of the things that I think probably all of our sites wrestle with to varying degrees is how much you cover a film. I mean, is there such a thing as oversaturating a particular film or overhyping a particular film?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I know we've covered Your Next quite a bit. I love the movie, but it's also been 2 years. There's a chance that, some of the readers, you've been telling me about this for 2 years. It's a big cross to bear.
It's certainly easier when we actually like the movie.
Yeah.
It's easier for us to, be the filter and get the word out to you guys.
It's also about good content too, because I feel like sometimes people feel like they're marketed to. They put out a poster or an image or something because the marketing team feels like they have to put that out. But I think you should be thinking about the audience as well. And if it's good content and it's engaging, if the movie includes good content as engaging, then I feel like it's better for the audience from a marketing perspective too, rather than just throwing stuff out there to see what sticks or doing something because you feel like you have to. And I know that we see a better response when the content is better on our site. Good posters, good images, good clips, without overdoing it. You gotta strike a nice balance because you don't want to show them too much, but you want the content to be good and engaging and get them excited about the movie.
Exactly. To that degree, it is our job. to kind of filter through that crap.
And
sorry, is anybody under 18 here? Can I swear?
If we're excited about it, we get everyone else excited about it because we're fans too.
Right,
So when I get a really cool clip, I want to share it and show it to everybody because I'm excited about it and I want to share it because genre fans like to share and it's all about discovery.
Right, but unlike the other day, just to kind of go on that, when the content's cool, but then I got an email the other day, not for something Your Next related, but for some film that's coming out, and you're we got a bunch of GIF files of someone doing a dance. Can you share that with your audience? I don't want to share that with you guys because it's kind of crappy. That's not content. I want to give you something fresh. I want to give you something new. I want to give you information that helps better your understanding of the film.
I think something else that's really important is when it's fun. When we're actually seeing a publicist that's excited about a good movie that they actually come up with a great idea for, such as at the end of our table, you will see a mask, and masks are awesome, and they're great to scare your pets with. And hashtag stay drunk.
And your children as well.
Yeah, my cat is still suffering from nightmares because of that freaking scary.
I just wanted to add something. For me, from a marketing perspective, I love a really, really good campaign that feels like it actually has effort to it. Like when I was, simply a fan, like things like the Saw campaign and like Blair Witch and that kind of stuff. I mean, that had some real ingenuity to it. And I think a lot of times we get kind of bogged down because here's 47 clips from the same movie and here's 150 stills. And I feel like that's not really marketing. That's just kind of like giving away a lot of your movie. And I think fans kind of want something that's different, something that's fun, like they were mentioning. And I think, Your Next is one of the few campaigns this year that's actually nailed it.
Lawrence, let me ask you a question quick. Simon was talking earlier about how there are trends in films, whether it's the found footage trend, whatever. What are some of the either bigger or smaller trends you see in the horror genre today that actually excites you, that you think is something that's really cool?
Well, I mean, from a fan's perspective, I get excited about James Wan's ghost movies. I think are really good. The Conjuring and Insidious, I think has really nailed it. It's like you can make a scary PG-13 movie or a scary R movie without a lot of special effects and computer effects and good characters, good story, good scares. I mean, it really just boils down to a good story and good characters. You can't just start with the concept of what, the horror element's going to be. You have to have all of the other things that make a really good movie great. It's like that with any genre. And I think a lot of times we forget about that. The thing when it comes to something like Your Next is I hope the fans do get excited about it because, I look at something like Cabin in the Woods, which kind of like flopped at the box office, and I really wish more people had gone to see it because it's a movie that's deserving of it, and Your Next is very similar. And I'm not just saying that because I'm on this panel. I mean, I saw it 2 years ago at Fantastic Fest, just when Lionsgate bought the rights, and they had several midnight screenings of it, and they canceled all of them except for one, and it became the ticket to get. And I'm glad that I was able to see it back then because it was a great screening, everybody loved it. And it's like, if you have good story, good characters, I don't really think it matters what the other actual horror elements are. But from, like a gore and blood perspective, horror movies serve different purposes. Sometimes you want a stupid, silly horror movie. We're adventurous film goers, and sometimes we want something that's just dumb time waster. Sometimes we want a really good, a good movie. And I think that horror in particular is one of the genres that really sort of caters to that.
Well,
nobody really wants to see a dumb movie.
To ride that in like story, characters, but also what's going to play on your fears. Simon brought up anxiety. What are the films now that are playing on certain modern contemporary anxieties? What's getting under people's skin? Home invasion of privacy, technological terror. Although we haven't seen that kind of play out, except for maybe like the found footage films. And I don't think found footage is exactly dead yet. I mean, and I don't think VHS series. I don't think VHS is necessarily killing it either. I mean, I think that you guys are doing great jobs with that stuff. But yeah, in terms of fads, we're all over the map today. I mean, there's not one specific, subgenre or genre that's reigning. We're seeing found footage. We're seeing supernatural films like The Conjuring doing well. It's going to do really well. I think it's great.
Well, I think that the big takeaway is just make good movies. I think so many of them are reverse engineered genre backwards. So many people are saying, okay, well, I'm looking for a found footage movie, or I'm looking for a home invasion movie, or I'm looking for whatever, a supernatural movie like The Conjuring.
And those movies fail because the audience recognizes that.
It's just good is good, honestly. I mean, like people say support indie horror or whatever, and it's just sort of like, I just want to, I'm not the first one to say this, we just support good horror. It doesn't matter who's behind it.
It all starts in the same place.
Yeah.
We keep bringing up The Conjuring, and the thing that it has in common with Your Next is that right away, I cared.
Yeah.
Right away. And so when the S hits the F, I can say fan.
We have little signs here.
Signs that say no swearing.
It says, please be aware that many members of your audience...
Who here is under 18?
I don't know how they knew that I was going to touch this.
She's sleeping it off.
What are you scared of?
So don't worry, I won't say fan again. But I cared, so when everything went wrong, I was into it and I was invested in the I don't even know how long the movie was because it felt like a flash to me, and that's what these have in common. They're fun, they're effective, and they started in the right place, which was some people actually sat down and wrote something that I cared about.
What I'm excited about though is that we're seeing guys like Adam and Simon kind of coming up. They're, you know, I consider them renegade filmmakers, guys who are pushing boundaries and bringing a new voice to the genre. And now we're seeing them kind of go from independent filmmaking to, you know, kind of mainstream filmmaking. And I'm really excited to see what they're going to bring to the table. Guys like James Wan. I mean, James Wan started with Saw, and now he's doing stuff like The Conjuring and Insidious. And these movies are making tons of money, but he's bringing this cool voice to that.
Now he's doing stuff like Fast 7.
And now Fast 7. Adam's going to do Fast 8.
Adam's doing Prometheus too.
You know, I think we're in an age where we realize we're all flawed, and the thing about this film, except for you, these characters feel flawed, and they're very real because we're all, excuse me, fucked up in some way. I gotta be the one to say that. And that's relatable. And we all have a family that, like, we all hate each other, or we all, like, have issues with each other, and that's what makes it relatable. And a good character, man, I still look back at movies like The Haunting, and that's what scares me. Because that chick was crazy. But that's a good movie.
Talking about 1998 or 1999?
Not the
Excellent Exion de Bont remake.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Actually, you know what? I kind of have a bit of a follow-up question.